Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to the channel. This is Beyoncé Notary, also known as Bourgeois. And I am coming back from missing last week, right? Yeah. I missed last week because I went ahead and just filmed a video of the back of my new car with my same notary, mobile notary setup so that you guys can see the difference and how much more space I have. Because when I had my Mercedes, it was very snug. As much as I love the vehicle, it just was not, it didn't work with what I was doing pretty much. Okay. And if I could afford a second car, I would still have my Mercedes, but you know, um, and then not even simply afford it, but just simply maintain two vehicles. I just didn't want to have to do that. Right. I learned from my client to stop saying that. Like, don't say you can't afford anything. If you want something, in order to get it, you just need to make some more money. I was like, that's a good way to look at things. So instead of me saying I can't afford something, I'll just say, you know what? I'm going to make some more money and get that later. So that's how we're going to start saying that. So no more saying you can't afford things, okay? Especially if you are self-employed. You can get and afford anything that you are willing to work for. Let's put it that way, okay? Since there is no cap on the amount of money that you can make. So anyway, tonight I am going to be talking about knowledge gets you started and performance keeps you going. All right. Before we dive in, I want to make sure that you're subscribed. All right. Because obviously, as you can see, tonight I went live an hour earlier, but that's because of the daylight savings time. So if you're not subscribed, you probably were not notified that I am now live. So hit that thumbs up button and tell me where you're tuning in from. I want to see my notary professionals representing your cities and your states. Now, let's get into our topic. Knowledge gets you started. Performance keeps you going. Oh, and also, if you're new to the channel, I already introduced myself, but I'll say it again. I am Beyoncé Notary, also known as Bourgeois, and I am the owner of Beyoncé Notary Services, as well as president and founder of the Notary Education Group. Every Sunday, I come on the channel and I go live to talk to you guys about business and notary related topics and answer your questions in real time. All right. Can't forget that. All right. Now let's do it. Knowledge gets you started. Performance keeps you going because knowledge alone doesn't sustain you. You can know everything there is to know about being a notary, but it's how you show up and deliver that determines how far you go. Okay. So I want you guys to pause for a moment and I want you to type the word performance in the chat if you're ready to take your skills to the next level tonight. All right. Now, the reason why I came up with this topic is because over the weekend, which was actually yesterday, I was on my way down south to go and get my hair done. I got my hair done. I got it up in a ponytail today, but you can see those defined parts because I have gotten my roots touched up like I do every 6 weeks. But anyway, I was listening to some of the greats on the radio. All right. Charlie Wilson got a new song out that I really like. Eric Benet and India Arie collabed on a song, and I actually like that. It's Must Be is what it's called. Must Be, it must be love. Oh, it's a really good song. And they still sound incredible. When you think about, and I'm not super young, you know what I mean? I'm in my 40s, but these people are like in their 60s, right? 50s and 60s, and they still sound good. And they've been singing for years, especially Charlie Wilson has been singing longer than both of them, I do believe. And he got a new song out. Like, really? And then you have artists like Chris Brown. They're not. I'm not talking about old people now. I'm talking about Chris Brown, Beyonce, Monica, and Brandy still performing, still touring, still giving their all. Why? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that these older artists still sound amazing, and some of the not so old artists, but have been performing for a very long time? Why are they still able to go out there and do that? Can you imagine how much energy they have to exert and how much effort and training, voice training and strengthening that they have to do to be able to tour? Okay, when you think about touring, you're like, they're just getting out there and saying, no, they're not. They have to get out there, they still have to sound great, and they're moving. They're moving and dancing while they're singing. I don't know about y'all, but I know how difficult it could be moving around and then you singing and all that stuff too, and staying on key and trying not to mess nothing up. Hey, Stephanie, good evening. But why? Why do you think that these people who have been doing entertainment for years, how can they still do all of this? Because they train, they rehearse, and they care about how they deliver. That's what performance looks like: consistency, practice, and commitment to excellence. Okay. And this is why I talk so much about this. Like, it's so much more than you just knowing how to do all the things, having the knowledge to do all the things. If you can do all the things, but you show up poorly, you're not going to be doing all the things for a very long time. All right. And for those of you who want to be successful in this business, you're going to have to start caring more about how you show up and how you perform. All right. As notaries, we need that same mindset that the artists have. Okay. It's not enough to be commissioned. We must keep sharpening our craft because our name and reputation depends on it. It really does. Okay. So I'm going to do another pause. Drop a flame if you agree that consistency matters more than perfection. Okay. Because, I mean, I'm not going to say that I've never made a mistake. I have made mistakes. I have. And I've been able and willing to fix them and move on to the next thing because I am human at the end of the day. But you do have some companies who are just not as forgiving if you've already showed up poorly. They're not really willing to give you another chance. They're like, you showed up poorly and you performed the task incorrectly. We just gonna put our money up and pay for another notary to go out and fix the situation. We're not gonna work with you anymore. And that actually happens. I had one notary appointment that I had to fix last week because of the notary doing what I did before. Remember, I told you guys I printed out everything and I didn't look to see that my printer was out of paper because I was rushing. I grabbed those papers off that printer, I put them in my bag, and I left. And I missed like 16 pages. Like, it wasn't even a couple, it was like 16 pages. And so when I did my scan backs, they were looking like, you didn't scan everything. We're missing this, we're missing that. And I'm looking like, well, how? Luckily, I had my electronic journal that I was using, and I always put the documents in my journal before I leave. I checked my journal, and there was like 3 or 4 documents that still needed to be signed and notarized that I did not see in that packet. Come to find out, I didn't print all the pages. So this notary didn't print out all the pages, and they were able to send them back out to meet with one person, but not the other, because the other person who was a signer was a truck driver and they were already on the road. So they did send that notary, same notary, back to meet with the one person. And then I had to do the other online because, you know, they weren't going to be there in person. So this is why I say it's super important. Okay. So I don't see nobody dropping a flame. I'm gonna drop my own flame, okay, in the chat. There we go. Because I know that it's super important to be consistent. Okay. Now, knowledge, okay, that's the knowing how to do the things that gets you guys started. So that's your commission, that's your training, that's your education. Okay. These are things that you actually should keep up on a regular basis. Okay. I have seen notaries say that they've been a notary for 20 years. They haven't looked back at their state statute in probably 5 or 10 of them. And I'm like, I don't understand how you do that, because every time I am introduced to a situation or presented with something and I don't really remember how to approach it, I'm back in my statutes, just double checking what I already know, So I don't see how a person can go that long without looking in their state statutes, because I do it several times a year, honestly. But it's your performance that keeps you going. Okay. That's your confidence in doing the job. So that means that while you're in the Facebook groups, looking at what people say, oh, you don't take this job, don't take that job, you're never going to build up your confidence if you're just sitting at home and not doing the work. You got to do some work so that you can become confident in performing your task over and over and over again. It can't be all about the money. All right. Communication. You have to be good at communicating, and it can't just be written. Okay. We need the written communication, we need the verbal communication. Okay. We need the body language. Okay. All of that makes a difference, and all of that matters to the clients and the customers. Okay. Preparation. Okay. What about that? Being prepared. You know how many notaries, they get the job, they go, they're not prepared to even finish the task. Okay, you got to be prepared. You got to show up professionally. Okay. Yeah, you do need to wear some professional, attire. Pants, or, for women, a skirt or a dress, a nice blouse. Okay. No wrinkled up t-shirt, no polo with the collar halfway done. Look professional. You are a representation of the company you're representing. And furthermore, you are a representation of your brand, of yourself, of your own company and business. So you need to show up and look the part. Okay. You can have all the knowledge in the world, all. But if your performance is off, if you're unprepared, you're disconnected from your clients, people pick up on that. They really do. And what does that make for you? That makes you lose credibility. Okay. You're not going to be the one they talk about. Okay. I have clients email me, my customers really enjoyed their time with you. Thank you for being so nice and patient and professional with them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now, here's another thing. Performance shows in your tone, how you talk to people. Okay. You know how many times I've seen on these groups, or I've heard other notaries say, notaries are going to appointments and complaining. They're complaining about, I'm not even getting paid enough for this. They made me waste all this paper printing all of this stuff out. I had to print another copy for you and print. Why are you doing all that complaining to the customer? Because what it does is it starts to make the people feel uncomfortable. And what's worse is you come into my home or my place of work to complain and make me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to have a lot of negative things to say about you. Okay. My feedback is not going to be very great because you didn't make me feel comfortable. First impressions are everything. All right. Now we're going to take another pause. I want you to drop in the chat, what's one area of performance you'd like to improve? It could be professionalism, communication, or confidence, or it could be all of the above. but I want to see you drop it in the chat for me. Okay. I want to see how many people are realizing, like, maybe my performance could improve. Maybe I could improve in my confidence and my professionalism and communication. And then I know with, the recent shutdown for the government and, funds not being available and things like that, that can really put a damper on some of the things that you may have to acquire to appear professional. But what I tell you guys, I go to Goodwill and I have so many good items that I bought from the Goodwill that I wear, you know, for my appointments, because sometimes I don't want to pay top dollar, for a blazer or some nice slacks or even a blouse. I will go to the Goodwill in a minute and spend my money, you know, because somebody else's trash is somebody else's gold, right? Or treasure, or however that saying goes. All right. Now, let's break it down into 4 pillars that make or break your notary performance. Preparation. Always double check your documents and supplies. All right. Nothing kills professionalism faster than being unprepared. All right. I know sometimes it can be difficult to check your documents before an appointment, especially because sometimes they make last minute changes or they give you the documents literally right before the appointment. But what I like to do is I do ever since I had that one incident, and it was very recent, it was this year. I do like to go through all the pages. Now I have made a mental note in my mind. Before you go, check the last page of the packet that you printed, check the last page of the file on the computer. Okay? That way I know. Or as soon as the documents are done printing, I make sure I look at the screen to make sure it's not blinking yellow to tell me that it ran out of paper. Because all of these things can happen. And if you're rushing, you will miss all of it. So already you're not prepared with the documents because you haven't even checked them to make sure all the pages were there, make sure everything was printed out, make sure you had the right documents. I had a situation where I brought the wrong documents with me to the appointment and I mailed off the person who I was meeting. I mailed their documents off using the other person's label, and those documents were all blank. I kid you not. And it was because I was rushing. I was rushing. So you have to, it doesn't matter if you're running late, just call the customer. Hey, you know what? They just released your documents to me. And so I am not going to arrive at our scheduled time. But as soon as I'm done making sure that I have all of the documents printed right, I'm going to be on my way to you. And I will text you, if that's okay, at this number to let you know my ETA. That's communication. And if I notice that I'm not going to have the documents by the time that I need to in order to leave and get to my appointment, I will call my customer or text them or email, whatever their preferred method of communication is, and let them know I may be running late because of XYZ. And I've never had a customer complain about it. I've never had a customer get upset. They always are very happy that I considered their time and notified them. Okay. So preparation. And not only that, I've gotten into the habit of checking documents more than twice. And let me tell you why. I went to a hospital and did a hospital signing because one of the appointments was for a doctor and a nurse. The doctor actually was very busy. The nurse wasn't. So the doctor was in and out. And I went ahead and signed all the documents that the doctor had to sign first so they can go back to work. And then me and the nurse took our time to do everything. And I went through the documents twice. And so I was like, I want to go through them one more time before I scan them. I'm going through the documents and I noticed at the top of the warranty deed, which was a draft, it wasn't the deed for them because they were buyers. So, the buyers don't sign the deed, but it was a draft copy there to show them. And At the very top, in very transparent writing, was a stamp for them to put their initials. And I would have never saw it had I not went back through those documents a third time. So this is why I say, so you have to be prepared for what you need to do before, what you need to do during, and what you need to do after. Be very focused. Try not to squeeze so many appointments into a day. I know for some of us, we have a goal that we want to make for the day, but if you are rushing from appointment to appointment, you're going to miss something because we're human, right? That happens. You're going to miss something. And then if you miss something, guess what? Now it's going to be bad because now you're potentially holding up a deadline. Thank you, Stephanie. So next is your presentation. How you show up matters, okay? From tone to setup, it all represents your brand. You know, the first thing I do when the customer opens the door, I greet them by name and I introduce myself. Even though they've heard my name several times, they've gotten my emails, my texts, I still greet them by name and I say, I'm Bergeau the Notary. Nice to meet you. And then when they let me in the door, I don't just start walking. They let me in the door and I wait. And I say, okay, show me where we're going to be signing. Oh, we're going to be right here at the table. And even if I know it looks like that's where we're going to be, I'm still not going to proceed into these people home or their work or whatever. I am going to let them lead the way. Okay, this is super important. So that part. Then the precision part. Every signature and stamp counts. I actually not just double and triple check my documents, I double and triple check my journal. Okay? That's super important because you don't want to have forgotten to check off a document you notarize. You don't want to have forgotten to have them sign your journal. You don't want to have forgotten to put the date and time. When I first started doing notary and I was using a paper journal, I would always forget to write the time because in my mind, I didn't want to write the time that I got started. I wanted to write the time that we got done. I know it sounds dumb. I have no idea where I got that thought from, but double, triple check all of that. Make sure you filled out your journal with everything that you needed. That doctor that was, had to hurry, I made sure to get all of their ID information in that journal. I had to scan ID, so I went ahead and just used my scanner app on my phone to scan the ID so that I can upload it to the portal when I got ready to do my scans and uploads. Precision. Okay. What are mistakes? Mistakes are messages about your focus. Okay. If you are not focused, you can make more mistakes. You can still make mistakes when you're focused, honestly, but you make more mistakes when you are not focused. You got a lot going on around you, and sometimes it does make it difficult to focus. But what I will do is if I'm talking a lot or me and the signers are vibing, I will go silent. They'll be talking and they'll notice my silence and then they'll give me that respect. Like, okay, let me let you focus. And I'll say, thank you. I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to make sure that we don't have anything missing because I don't want to hold up your transaction. They are always like, yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead and take your time. And that's what I do. Okay. And then professional growth. Keep reading your statutes. Don't be those notaries who've been doing this for 10, 20 years and they haven't looked back at that thing. Okay. Attend workshops. There's nothing wrong with attending workshops, but me and Stephanie, we were talking a little bit about that. And I learned something from a virtual meetup that I did or that I had with one of my connections on Alignable, because I am on Alignable as well. And one of the things she told me was, you want to be strategic in the networking. Okay. So there is a such thing that's called targeted networking. Okay. Just like your target audience, you know who your customers, your ideal customers are. Well, you need to know what are the ideal networking events for you. You don't need to attend every event because the goal of networking is to meet people that can be a part of your network. They can refer people to you and you refer people to them too. Okay. There are going to be some people that are not going to be worth being a part of your network. And it has nothing to do with them not being a good person or anything. It's just business. The networking is about business. Can I refer you to my customers? Will my customers, in my experience, in my line of work, would my customers need what you offer? Maybe not all the time. Maybe so, because I do get a lot of people who call and they may not need a notary, but because they trust me, they would hope that I have some type of connection with a person that they need for a service they're looking for, and I can refer them. All right. So attend the workshops so that you can learn something. Make sure the workshop that you are attending is something that you can apply to your business. Don't just go to be going. Okay. We want to make good use of our time. We don't just want to be doing things just for the sake of saying you're doing it. Because sometimes you do have that where you're just in the spaces because you want to get the pictures and show people that you're out there doing it, but you're not getting anything from it. You want to attend workshops and networking events where you can give and get something back. We don't want to do any one-sided meetings. Okay. And invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. For me, I'm going to be doing some investing in myself next year because I want to join an association. Okay. And I want to join a commerce up in this area, and both of those cost money. And so my goal is to make enough money to be able to do that for myself. So that's investing in myself because I know that I'm going to be getting connected to people that I want to work with and who most likely would like to work with me. All right. So even the best performers rehearse. And that's basically what it's all about. Okay, we're rehearsing when I speak about professional growth, reading your statutes, attending workshops that you actually can get something from, learn something new, investing in yourself. Basically, the same thing as entertainers do. We're rehearsing so that we can always stay on top of our game. All right. So I'm gonna take another pause. I want you to type prepared if you double check everything before heading out from an appointment. I do. I want you to drop a briefcase emoji if you believe presentation builds trust. Let me find one. You know they got emojis for computers now, so let me find a briefcase emoji. There we go. I'm gonna drop that in chat. Oh no, that's not it. That's wrong. I was trying to copy the briefcase emoji. Oh, I didn't wait. That's why. There we go. There's my briefcase emoji. I want you to type precision if accuracy is your priority. Another one I can agree with. I can agree with all of these. And then lastly, type level up if you're committed to professional growth. Absolutely. Yes, I am. All of the above. Okay. And if you guys are watching this live after the fact, I still want you to participate in typing in these keywords because I want to see how many of my viewers are prepared, believe that presentation builds trust, believe precision is in type precision if accuracy is your priority, and then level up if you're committed to professional growth. Hi, JT. All right. So we're about to get ready to wrap it up, but I do want to say a few things. Some notaries lose motivation because they stop practicing the basics. And I get it. Unfortunately, being a notary is not a plug and play job or role. And I took that from the great Griffin notary. It's not a plug and play, guys. Okay, you actually have to do the work. Performance separates the average from the exceptional. You got to remember that. Just like artists who keep rehearsing decades later and still putting out hits, like that new Charlie Wilson song. I actually like that song. To come on the radio, I'm turning it up. And then Eric Benet and India Arie, new song Must Be. I love that song. I'm turning the radio up when I hear that too. All right. So you want to keep showing up sharp. Okay. Keep learning, keep performing. Your seal may close documents, but your performance opens doors. That's a good one. I got that from ChatGPT, by the way. Your seal may close documents, but your performance opens doors. Okay, now I want y'all to drop a 100 emoji if you believe how you perform represents who you are. Okay, if you can resonate with that saying that I got from ChatGPT. Okay, you can either drop a 100 emoji or just type 100. All right. Now, before we close, okay, I want you guys to remember knowledge gives you permission, but performance gives you power. Okay. There is power in the way that you perform these notary duties. Okay. Don't just learn, apply. Don't just show up, show out professionally. All right. So, your challenge this week focus on one part of your performance and improve it by 10%. Whether it's your communication, your setup, or your timing, make a small improvement and I want you to build on it. All right. So if you are in it, I want you to type into the chat, I'm in. If you're up for the challenge, I want you to type, I'm in. All right. And y'all know I always say it, share this live with another notary to inspire them to perform at their best. All right. And don't forget, we have courses, we have free courses on the Notary Education grp.com. Go to the course page. Okay. You want to perform at your best. That's your superpower. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining me tonight. I hope that you could take something from everything that I share with you. And I will see you guys again next Sunday, probably around the same time as 7:30, because like I said, we lost that hour. So if I go live at 8:30, it's going to be 9:30. Baby, I'm in the bed. I'm in the bed about to go to sleep at that time. So it's probably going to be 7:30 now. Okay. And then when the time jumps back up in the spring, it'll be back to 8:30 again. All right. All right, guys. So have a good night and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.